Our town, our TV. Amherst City Cable.
Call the meeting of the City Council to order on March 23rd, 7:36 p.m. Roll call.
Mr. Winarski?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Present.
Mr. Janik?
Here.
Mr. Bukovac?
Here.
Mr. Goodell?
Here.
Mr. Van Turen?
Here.
Mrs. Vasil?
Will you stand with me, please? Gracious God, bless our meeting here tonight. We thank you for the privilege we have to assemble here. We thank you for the privilege we have to disagree without fear of physical injury. We thank you for the privilege of being able to express our opposition to the actions of our fellow lawmakers and our leaders without fear of reprisal. Bless us tonight and keep us all truly thankful for our nation and its government. And now may the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Minutes of the regular council meeting held March 9th, 2015. Minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held March 16th, 2015.
Mr. Miller.
Move to adopt consent agenda is read.
Mr. Goodell.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as read. Oh, okay.
Mr. Winarski?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Janik?
Yes.
Mr. Bukovac?
Yes.
Mr. Goodell?
Yes.
Mr. Van Turen?
Yes.
Mrs. Vasil?
Yes, and we do need a motion to excuse Mr. Dietrich, who has a letter on file, and Mr. Pecora, who has appointed Mr. Carlson to sit in his absence tonight. Mr. Janik.
So moved.
Mr. Miller.
Second, please.
There's a motion and a second to excuse Mr. Dietrich and Mr. Pecora. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion is carried 7-0. Item number 5 is acknowledgement of the public pertaining to items on the agenda. Is there anyone here tonight who wishes to speak on any of the items on the agenda? Seeing none, we will go to item number 6, ordinances and resolutions, first reading.
An ordinance adopting an amended and updated investment policy for the city of Amherst and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Miller.
Move to take 6A to the floor with suspension of rules and declaring an emergency. Take it to its, take 6A.
Suspend rules.
Suspend council rules and
Okay.
vote on 6A.
Okay, Mr.
My apologies.
Winarski.
I'll second it.
Second, the suspension of rules. There's a motion and a second to suspend rules so A15-12 can be sent to, can be adopted on the first reading. Comments? Mr. Bukovac?
Thank you. During our discussion last week in committee, one of the changes we had for the investment policy was the definition of FINRA. I don't see that definition being written out in my papers in front of me.
Yes, I'm speaking with Mr. Carlson. He's making the notation of what the abbreviation stands for. It's Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. I assume he would make that correction.
Is there the end in there for something?
Yes.
International, national?
National.
Okay. Is that something we should probably not have to worry about too much?
I don't think so, Your Honor. Your Honor. I don't think so.
In other words, you don't need a subsidiary motion or anything.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's just a matter of making clear what the acronym stands for.
Okay, and that will be included in the policy when it gets for the mayor to sign?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you guys all.
Thank you, Mr. Booker. Mr. Miller?
Yes, I just had that same concern. As long as the language is actually in the ordinance, then I am okay as well with us voting on this. I was just concerned that 137.03 was not properly written per our voting in committee. So if it will be in there, I'd be glad to support this and move this on.
Mr. Carlson, did you have any other? I wasn't sure, it looked like you were getting ready.
No, I have no other concerns. Thank
Are
you.
there any other comments or questions? We have a motion and a second to suspend rules on item A15-12. Roll call vote.
Mr. Winarski?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Janik?
Yes.
Mr. Bukovac?
Yes.
Mr. Goodell?
Yes.
Mr. Van Churen?
Yes.
Mrs. Wasilk?
Yes. Mr. Winarski?
Motion to adopt.
Mr. Bukovac?
I'll second that, please.
There's a motion and a second to adopt A15-12. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Winarski?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Janik?
Yes.
Mr. Bukovac?
Yes.
Mr. Goodell?
Yes.
Mr. Van Churen? Mrs. Wasilk?
Yes.
Comes ordinance O-15-11.
Item number 6B.
An ordinance authorizing the treasurer to enter into a discretionary investment management agreement with Meter Investment Management for the city's funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Goodell?
I'd like to make a motion to suspend council rules on item 6B, declaring an emergency so that it's passed on its first reading.
Okay. Mr. Van Churen?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to suspend rules on A15-13. Comments or questions? Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I spoke with the treasurer. I had some concern during committee, and I was unable to find anything as well in regards to meter other than that red flag that we discussed. I'm confident then that meter will handle our funds properly. I want to thank the treasurer's office, Mr. Ramsey, and his staff for putting this together, help bring us a little bit more revenue in off of our money. So thank you for taking the time and the effort in your office, and I'll be glad to support this now.
Certainly welcome.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Winarski?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Janik?
Yes.
Mr. Bukovac?
Yes.
Mr. Goodell?
Yes.
Mr. Van Churen?
Yes.
Mrs. Wasilk?
Yes. Continuing on to item 7, ordinances and resolutions, second reading. There are none.
Point of order.
we want to-
Point of order.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Bukovac.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 6B.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Mr. Winarski?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Winarski?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Janik?
Yes.
Mr. Bukovac?
Yes.
Mr. Goodell?
Yes.
Mr. Van Churen? Mrs. Wasilk?
Yes.
Becomes ordinance O-15-12.
Now we're going to go on to item 7, ordinances and resolutions, second reading. There are none. Item 8, ordinances and resolutions, third reading. There are none. Item 9, miscellaneous and acknowledgement of the public. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on any subject? Seeing none, we'll go on to item 10, agenda requests and committee meeting schedules.
I have one. It will be for finance. It's agenda A-15-14, and the subject is authorization to bid and award the 2015 street rehab program, declaring an emergency, and that's complete.
Thank you. We'll go to the committee chairs. For the Finance Committee, we have one item, A15-14, as it was read just now by the clerk, and we will call that for the first Monday in April, which is, I believe, the 6th, and we will call it for 7 o'clock. Building and Lands, Mr. Winarski.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Streets, Mr. Bukovac.
No items for streets, please cancel.
Thank you. Community Development, Mr. Janik.
No items, Madam Chair, please cancel.
Thank you. Executive, Mr. Goodell.
Nothing at this time, Madam President, please cancel.
Thank you. Ordinance, Mr. Miller.
No items, please cancel.
Thank you. Utilities, Mr. Miller.
No items, please cancel.
Thank you. Recycle, Mr. Janik.
No items, Madam Chair, please cancel.
Thank you. Technology, Mr. Bukovac.
No items, please cancel.
Thank you. Police and Fire, Mr. Van Truen.
No items, Madam President, please cancel.
Thank you. Annexation, Mr. Bukovac.
No items, please cancel.
Thank you. That concludes the list of committees. The next item is 11, reports of the administration. Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Ramsey?
Thank you, Council, for passing that legislation tonight. We'll certainly do our best to maximize the city's investments as best as we can, and certainly within the confines of the law. Just a reminder that income taxes are due, municipal income taxes are due April 15th. If you have any questions, you can give our office a call and a report.
Mr. Kukuka?
No report.
Mr. Carlson?
No report.
Mr. Costello?
I have no report, thank you.
I just have one item on the street program. We're finalizing it right now. We'll meet on it for discussion on April 6th. I'll get all the information to you by a week from today, so you'll have a week to look at that prior to the committee meeting. And that will be the end of the report, Madam Chairman. Sure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Madam President. Just wanted to, before I motion to accept the reports of the administration, I just wanted to say thank you for taking my calls and the city officials who did regarding the streets and the conditions that they're in, the issues that residents have been bringing forth to us. I'm sure I'm not the only one getting calls. And the response time has been fantastic. I've been getting calls on the weekend, which I was pleasantly surprised to hear that they were following up on issues as well. So thank you to the mayor's city service. I'm getting it spit it out there, Mr. Costello, and the rest of the departments in the streets and city that have taken care of us over this rough spring. So thank you again, and with that, I'll make a motion to accept the reports of administration.
Thank you, Mr. Bukovac.
Second, please.
Mr. Goodell.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Well, we have to vote on that. We have to vote on the motion first.
No,
But will it, see, you caught what I was doing a little earlier. So. All right. There's a motion and a second to accept the reports of the administration. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion is carried 7-0 to accept the reports of the administration. Now, Mr. Goodell.
Now I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Do you have a second? Mr. Winarski.
I'd like to second that.
There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. We are adjourned 7-0 at 7:49. Thank you. Good to see you.
Our town, our TV. Amherst City Cable.